These are the craziest moments when Homelander went God mode in The Boys.
God bless America.
Also, become a member to access our videos earlier than others. A-Train spent years running from his problems.
I'm gonna flip A-Train. He's right there. He's ready.
When I carried your ass to the ER, that felt better than anything that I had ever done at VOD.
But you can't outrun a fragile egomaniac with orbital flight and laser vision. In this final season premiere, the speedster's luck completely runs out. Homelander decides he's done with the betrayal and tracks him down like an apex predator hunting a startled rabbit. A-Train pushes his speed to the absolute limit. His heart hammering in pure panic as he tries to escape a literal god tracing his footsteps from above. But he tried to save a life, and then Homelander drops from the sky like a solid steel missile, cutting off any hope of survival. The execution is quick, brutal, and leaves no doubt that the final season is playing for keeps. A-Train did get a few words in, but that was that.
What happens if, I don't know, if I do this?
Ashley thinks she hit gold by introducing a blind, superheroing hero to join the Seven.
Oh, good news. I think I found a hero. Perfect candidate to replace Translucent.
Blind Spot is doing his flashy routine, totally unaware he's auditioning for a monster. Homelander plays along at first, flashing that trademark fake $1 million smile and welcoming him to the big leagues.
That is amazing. And you, my friend, are a true hero.
Then, without missing a beat, he claps his hands directly over the poor kid's ears, completely shattering his eardrums. That wet, sickening pop is enough to make anyone drop their popcorn. Homelander casually tells a traumatized Ashley that a supe who can't see or hear is totally useless.
What made you think I would ever allow a cripple into the Seven?
Leaving the guy crying on the floor in agony. It's an intensely uncomfortable reminder of his sadistic nature, proving he values physical perfection and controls the team entirely through pure psychological terror.
From now on, I will set my own agenda, I'll approve my own marketing, and write my own talking points.
Things go from terrifying to potentially world-ending when Homelander finally injects himself with the famed V1 serum. Despite the obvious risks, he doesn't hesitate, desperate to eliminate the last remaining threats to his supremacy. The transformation is immediate and agonizing, as overwhelming energy surges through his body and his eyes blaze brighter than ever before. Anthony Starr perfectly sells the moment as Homelander embraces what may be the ultimate evolution of his power. While the full extent of V1's effects remains unclear even after the finale, the episode strongly suggested that he has gained immortality and immunity to the supe-killing virus, removing Butcher and the gang's most viable path to stopping him. The scene isn't frightening because of what Homelander destroys, but because of what he may now be capable of becoming, which turned out to be a waste in the finale.
Run.
One of The Boys' earliest and most shocking moments arrives when a politician carrying damaging information about Vought attempts to flee aboard a private jet. Unbeknownst to him, Homelander is already waiting outside the aircraft. Hovering calmly in the night sky, he watches with an unsettling lack of emotion before unleashing a blast of heat vision that tears through the plane. Within seconds, the aircraft is doomed, plunging from the sky along with everyone aboard. Anthony Starr's chillingly restrained performance makes the scene even more disturbing. Homelander commits murder with the same casual detachment most people would show while completing a routine task. The sequence perfectly establishes the show's central idea. Behind the patriotic image and marketing campaign stands a man capable of horrifying cruelty, without a trace of remorse.
What's he doing out here?
Aren't you guys friends?
Believing Soldier Boy may have finally found a way to contain the world's most dangerous supe, Homelander is trapped inside a uranium-filled containment chamber at Fort Harmony.
Shit hole now. do it.
The effects are immediate and brutal, with the radiation stripping away much of his strength and leaving him visibly weakened for one of the first times in the series. For a fleeting moment, it appears that even Homelander has limits. Anthony Starr acts really well as pain, fury, and conviction battle across his face. Refusing to accept defeat,
Have you?
You're all paste. I can take what's mine.
Homelander endures the punishment and eventually tears his way out of the prison designed to hold him. The scene is terrifying not because it makes him stronger, but because it proves that even one of the most extreme measures ever devised can only slow him down, not stop him.
Well, we could still fly the rest of the way.
I told you you're not carrying me.
All right.
Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and become a member for early access to our videos. Years of manipulation, dependency, and buried resentment come to a halt when Homelander confronts Madelyn Stillwell in her living room.
What's your plan from here? What do you want? Do you want a confession?
For so long, she has managed to control him through a carefully crafted mix of affection, praise, and, milk. But that influence finally collapses once the truth about Becca is exposed. Anthony Starr does this scene with an eerie softness that makes every word feel dangerous. Rather than exploding in rage, Homelander speaks almost tenderly as Madelyn struggles to regain control of the conversation. Then, without warning, he ends it. A blast of heat vision tears through her skull at point-blank range, killing the one person who believed she understood him. The murder marks a decisive shift in their power dynamic and removes the last authority figure from Homelander's life.
Please take Teddy upstairs.
It's okay. Shh, 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 shh. Just answer one question for me.
It's hard to hold a gun when it's 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, you idiot!
Homelander's first major superhero assignment becomes a catastrophe when a hostage crisis inside a bank rapidly spins beyond his control.
These hostages don't have 14 minutes. I'm going in.
Wait, Homelander.
Arriving with every intention of looking like a perfect hero, he finds himself overwhelmed by the pressure, noise, and the mistake he made in a real-life emergency.
Violence is never the answer. Now, if you come peacefully, I'll make sure your cause is discussed at the highest level.
In a split-second decision, he unleashes his powers, taking down the gunman, but also killing innocent civilians caught in the line of fire. The aftermath is far more revealing than the violence itself. Faced with the consequences of his error, Homelander's focus quickly shifts away from the victims and toward protecting his reputation. The episode offers a disturbing glimpse of how a powerful but emotionally stunted young Soup begins prioritizing image management over accountability, laying the foundation for the monster he eventually becomes.
You weren't supposed to do that.
That was you!
Everything Homelander has spent years hiding is suddenly validated in a single horrifying moment.
It's my son, Ryan.
When a protester throws a bottle that strikes Ryan, Homelander reacts instantly, turning his heat vision on the man in front of a packed crowd. For a brief second, the atmosphere freezes as everyone processes the murder they have just witnessed. Then the unthinkable happens. Applause.
Yeah! Yeah!
Instead of recoiling in horror, many of Homelander's supporters celebrate the killing. The expression that spreads across his face says far more than speech could. It's the realization that loyalty to him runs deeper than morality, decency, or even basic humanity. The scene doesn't transform Homelander into a monster, it reveals that a growing number of people are willing to cheer for the monster he already is. Homelander treats Web Weaver's final moments with a level of indifference that's almost more disturbing than outright rage. Cornered inside Vought Tower, the frightened Soup desperately rambles through excuses and explanations, hoping to somehow escape the inevitable. Homelander barely seems interested.
A few weeks back, how did you know where I was meeting Victoria and Miller?
Look, I messed up. I know.
As the tension mounts, he watches with detached amusement, already having made his decision after seeing so much, fluid. Then, without warning, The conversation ends in an explosion of violence. Rather than relying on his lasers, Homelander tears Webweaver apart with his bare hands, reducing a fellow supe to mangled remains in seconds. What makes the scene so chilling isn't the gore itself, but Homelander's complete lack of emotional investment. To him, this isn't a difficult choice, a punishment, or even a message. It's simply another problem being removed. Homelander's return to the laboratory that shaped his childhood quickly turns into a massacre.
I used to be left in there for hours, days on end, completely alone.
Walking the same halls where he was isolated, studied, and molded into Vort's ultimate product, he confronts the scientists and staff connected to some of the darkest memories of his life. What begins as an unsettling reunion soon becomes an exercise in absolute power. Trapped inside the facility with no realistic means of escape, the researchers can do little more than watch as Homelander methodically takes his revenge. The violence is brutal, but the emotional undercurrent makes it even more disturbing. Rather than lashing out in a blind fury,
Look, I guess I got a little grumpy, and I'm sorry.
Homelander appears almost reflective at times, treating the slaughter as a reckoning decades in the making. The scene exposes the scars of his upbringing while demonstrating just how monstrous he has become. Few deaths in The Boys are as tragic as Black Noir's final encounter with Homelander.
We're gonna go.
Yeah, okay. I'll talk to you guys later.
After learning that Noir knew the truth about Soldier Boy for years, Homelander confronts the one ally he believed was unquestionably loyal. Beneath the anger is something far more unsettling: genuine hurt. For a brief moment, Homelander appears devastated by the revelation that another important figure in his life kept secrets from him. That vulnerability vanishes in an instant. With a sudden, brutal strike, he punches through Noir's chest and leaves him mortally wounded on the floor of Vought Tower. The scene becomes even sadder when Noir's imaginary cartoon companions appear to comfort him in his final moments.
Don't worry, Irving. We are so proud of you.
It's a devastating end for one of the show's most enigmatic characters, and another reminder that anyone close to Homelander is ultimately expendable.
Fuck. Why didn't you tell me?
Howdy, boys. Oh, sorry. How are you guys doing?
To help justify Vought's push for superheroes in the military, Homelander travels to Syria and turns a terrorist compound into a slaughterhouse. Armed militants scramble to respond as he crashes into the facility with overwhelming force, but the fight is hopeless from the start. Heat vision tears through gunmen in seconds, while anyone who survives the initial assault is dispatched with effortless brutality. The sequence is frightening, not because Homelander struggles, but because he doesn't. Every kill feels routine, as though he's carrying out a mundane assignment rather than taking human lives. Anthony Starr plays the moment with chilling detachment, treating the entire operation as little more than a task to be completed. By the time the smoke clears, Homelander has demonstrated exactly why conventional soldiers are meaningless against someone with godlike power.
God bless America.
Ryan's decision to finally stand up to his father triggers one of the most disturbing confrontations in the series. Already consumed by delusions of godhood and mounting paranoia, Homelander reacts to the challenge with shocking brutality. What begins as a heated confrontation quickly turns into a savage assault, with Homelander beating Ryan so severely that it appears he may not survive. The violence is difficult to watch precisely because it isn't directed at an enemy or a stranger, it's directed at his own son.
Tended to care about me.
I do care about you, son. I love you.
Throughout the series, Ryan has represented the one relationship capable of reaching whatever humanity remains inside Homelander. In this moment, that bond proves frighteningly fragile. By the time Butcher finds him, Ryan is battered and broken, and any illusion that Homelander's love could restrain his worst impulses has been shattered. Huey's covert mission nearly becomes a death sentence when Homelander suddenly senses that something isn't right. Hidden inside the ventilation system above a Vought production, Huey can do little more than stay perfectly still as Homelander's attention shifts upward. The atmosphere changes instantly as what was already a tense situation becomes a horror sequence, with Huey trapped just feet away from someone capable of detecting the slightest mistake. Without warning, Homelander fires a blast of heat vision through the ceiling, narrowly missing his unseen target and sending panic rippling through the room below. The moment captures one of the character's most frightening qualities. He doesn't need proof to become dangerous. He also ends up slicing Maeve's actress without even knowing it. While pursuing a super-terrorist through a crowded village, Homelander once again demonstrates how dangerous absolute power becomes when paired with complete indifference. As frightened civilians gather nearby, the rogue Supe attempts to shield himself among the crowd. Homelander responds in the simplest way possible. He gives us a meme. A blast of heat vision tears through the target, but the beam doesn't stop there. Standing directly behind him is a young boy who is struck and killed in an instant. The moment is over almost as quickly as it begins, yet its impact lingers. Rather than showing horror, regret, or even hesitation, Homelander barely acknowledges what has happened.
You right to realize I killed that asshole for them.
To everyone else, an innocent child has just died. To Homelander, it is little more than collateral damage on the way to completing his mission.
Well, PR is drafting a response as we speak. Acknowledgement, apology, action.
No. Apology? No.
A routine armored truck robbery comes to an abrupt end when Homelander arrives from the sky and reminds everyone why ordinary criminals stand no chance against a Supe of his caliber. Bullets, threats, and bravado become meaningless the moment he enters the scene. Moving with extreme confidence, he neutralizes the robbers while barely appearing inconvenienced by their attempts to fight back.
Can I get a selfie?
Of course you can.
Just as important as the action is the image he projects throughout the encounter. Homelander smiles for the cameras, speaks like a perfect hero, and carries himself as the embodiment of American superheroism. For first-time viewers, the sequence works as a classic comic book rescue. Let's not forget Maeve's epic entrance too.
We've taken 8 hostages at the Cruise chemical plant on Staten Island. The hostages are said to all be Cruise chemical managers and executives.
One of the most revealing moments in Diabolical comes when a young Homelander's arrogance collides head-on with Black Noir's professionalism. Inside a sprawling chemical facility, Homelander grows increasingly frustrated as events slip beyond his control. Rather than adapting, he doubles down on overwhelming force, turning an already dangerous situation into a disaster.
That's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna let you or anyone else take my future away from me.
When Black Noir intervenes, the confrontation erupts into a brutal clash between Vaught's 2 most powerful assets. Heat vision rips through the industrial equipment, explosions tear through the facility, and entire sections of the plant are left in ruins as Homelander recklessly escalates the fight.
Whoa. Easy, friend. I understand you're angry, but this violence is no way to effect change.
What makes the sequence memorable isn't just the destruction, it's how clearly it exposes Homelander's immaturity. Even at this stage of his career, his need to prove himself consistently outweighs judgment, restraint, and concern for the people caught in the crossfire.
I covered it with my body, but the blast was too great. We searched the rubble. Sadly, we're the only survivors.
Did I hear you say butcher?
Determined to reclaim Ryan, Homelander tears through a secure underground compound with the kind of ease that makes resistance seem pointless. As armed guards move to intercept him, the encounter lasts only moments.
Where's my son?
A sweep of heat vision cuts through the defenders, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake and demonstrating just how hopeless ordinary humans are against someone of his power. The sequence is brutal, not because there's a battle, but because there isn't one. The soldiers never feel like a genuine obstacle. They're simply standing between Homelander and what he wants. When he finally emerges from the facility, streaked with blood and completely unfazed by the carnage behind him, the image is unforgettable. It's a stark reminder that when Homelander decides to use force, conventional weapons and trained personnel barely register as an inconvenience.
Where is my son?
Facing a crowd of furious protesters, Homelander finds himself surrounded by the very thing he hates the most: people openly rejecting him. As chants grow louder and accusations fly, his carefully maintained public smile begins to crack. For a brief, horrifying moment, the scene shifts into fantasy. Homelander's eyes glow red, and a sweeping blast of heat vision tears through the crowd, carving a path of destruction through men, women, and children alike. Bodies collapse, blood fills the streets, and the protest is transformed into a massacre within seconds.
All right, you guys are real heroes. God bless you. Love you guys.
Then reality returns. Homelander hasn't moved. The crowd is still alive, and the violence existed only in his imagination. That revelation makes the scene even more unsettling, exposing how naturally mass murder enters his thoughts whenever his authority, popularity, or sense of superiority is challenged.
Isn't she great? Didn't you love that little walk like an Egyptian dance you did online? So fun.
For perhaps the first time in the series, Homelander finds himself trapped in a fight he can't instantly dominate. Arriving at hero-gasm to confront Soldier Boy, he expects another effortless victory. Instead, Billy Butcher enters the battle with Temp V enhanced powers, transforming the encounter into a brutal three-way clash, with a nude Huey arriving later. The mansion shakes under the force of their attacks as punches, heat vision, and explosions take over. What begins as confidence gradually turns into alarm when Homelander realizes his opponents can actually injure him. The sight of shock on his face is genuine, exposing a vulnerability he has rarely been forced to acknowledge. As the odds shift against him and more combatants join the struggle, Homelander abandons the fight and escapes, preserving his life rather than risking defeat. Hope you liked the video, so please subscribe to the TV Regent and become a member for early access to new videos.